Bolton Wanderers choose the ISA? Why did Bolton choose the ISA out of all the academies here?
We've been asked that question a few times while we've been here, and I'll give the same answer I gave to the same people. Because we were asked by Keith, Tish and the International Soccer Academy. But it was the manner in which they asked. We get asked to go all over the world, which we do, and we've been asked many times to come to Australia. It was the way they asked. They didn't talk about the monetary side of things. They didn't talk about players becoming professional players. They did talk about pathways, but they were realistic pathways. And what they did talk about was developing players, developing coaches, parents' education. And really that's kind of how we operate, and that's what we're about, and that's how we ended up being where we are now. And obviously we took the invitation up, and that's why we've come out, and it's first class. So that's how we've ended up coming out.
What is it that both of you would personally like to achieve through a partnership with the ISA?
Well, we've obviously this evening and throughout the week have introduced what we call a 12-month plan. Ideally, we'd like to develop footballs, and we'd like to develop pathways, we'd like to develop it through this academy. My own personal thing is like what I always say at the start of everything. It is to find a footballer to play for Bolton Wanderers. And I would love nothing better than to sign a boy professionally to play for Bolton Wanderers.
How about yourself?
I think if you look away from that ultimate goal of getting a player through to Bolton Wanderers, we're a programme that's about giving opportunity. And that's one thing that we like to do wherever we go. We like to give opportunities. We like to find pathways. We also like to leave a legacy wherever we go in terms of the way that we teach the game, the work that we do with the coaches who are ultimately going to work with the players when we're not here.
Okay, so in your first presentation to the ISA, you mentioned the 4 A's that are crucial for any professional footballer. Could you please, for the camera, explain those 4 A's again and why they're so important?
Well, in anything, you've got to have a statement, you've got to have something, you've got to have a goal, a target. You've got to have something that you work towards and something that you believe in. The 4 A's was something that we came up with collectively, and the 4 A's are in this order. They're about attitude, they're about athleticism, they're about ability and about ambition. The attitude, and you see the statements that we have in the presentations, attitude is a little thing that makes a big difference. That speaks for itself. All players that I've ever interviewed anywhere in the world, all coaches I've ever spoke to that are at the highest level, all talk about attitude, having the right attitude. Athleticism is just the way the game's developing. They are athletes, and they are big physical specimens of athletes. Even the Barcelonas of this world are athletes, no matter how good they are at the soccer. They're athletes first and foremost. The ability we talk about with players, depending which level they're at, we concentrate a lot on the ability off the ball. It's a given that some players at the level we coach at do have the technique and the proficiency to play football. But off the ball is the majority of time where a lot of games are won and lost. So we like as coaches to try and develop players off the ball. Ambition is something that you add. You want ambitious people. You want people that are going to not so much be ruthless to get where they're going, but certainly have that drive and desire to make it to the top. They need to be ambitious. And that ambition has to be in the foremost of their mind to strive to be the best that they can be at whatever they choose to do. Ours is professional football.
I think also in terms of ambition, I think what you'll find is that everybody has the ambition to be a professional footballer. Everybody wants to be it. What we do with the way that we teach and the way that we assess people with our holistic approach, we don't just look for the people that want to be it. We look for that type of person that wants to do it. Within their ambition, are they motivated intrinsically in terms of self-improvement, doing what's necessary to get to the end of the ambition and to reach that goal? 2 different types of people. Everybody wants to be it. We look for the guys that want to actually do it.
Now, you've also mentioned inspiration, so let me ask, who has inspired the both of you? Anyone in particular? Footballer? Anyone?
When I was younger, I'm a big Blackpool fan, and it was, watching Blackpool and going with my dad and having that opportunity And players that I remember are, you know, your Mickey Walsh, Bob Hattons, Derek Spence. You know, they're the players I remember. Stan McEwen, growing up as a Blackpool fan. As I've grown older in football, you know, Paul Gascoigne was a hero of mine to watch. You know, as you get involved in coaching, you tend to look at other people, but you might take outside of football. You know, you know, it's in football. It's your Bill Shankley's of this world, your Bob Paisleys. It's these inspirational figures. Nowadays, it's the modern figures, your Alex Fergusons, your Jose Mourinho's. Outside of football, it's, for me, and probably my biggest inspiration that I always take is probably Muhammad Ali. He's just someone that, for me, is an iconic, inspirational figure.
I think, again, in terms of drawing inspiration as a coach, it's not a constant, it's an ongoing thing, because you're constantly looking to evolve yourself. So you seek different sources of inspiration and different types of inspiration as you move along your own particular journey. The example of Muhammad Ali is a great one, because we both recently had a chance to visit his hometown in Louisville and see the legacy that he's left for the community there, in terms of how he was as a person and not just an athlete. So you draw inspiration from different sources, and as Dave said, it's not just from within the sport of football. You draw lessons from life itself.
So what's next for the ISA in Bolton?
Well, obviously we're gearing for a March visit. In between that, we've laid down some foundations. We've now split the academy into three, where we'll have our trotters foundation stage, which will be the early years, fundamentals as we call them. We've then got the development side, which is probably your middle-age groups, moving on to the target. So there's three specifics there that we've left. We've talked about organising a fixture a month. We've talked about continuing the testing that we've set now. They're the short-term ones between now and our visit back out in March. The longer one is to obviously increase the academy, double its size in players, introduce a little bit more of our coaching philosophy, where at the moment we're laying down the ground rules. And the big thing we'll be introducing is following our prospectus and our beliefs and values at the football club.
So, what have you guys enjoyed most about your visit to Australia? What's been your highlight so far?
Listen, I can give, Mick's saying we can give the Opera House, Bondi Beach, you know, the time we've had with Tish and Keith, but at the end of the day, we always judge on football, and that's an easy one. The players, they've been terrific, their attitude's been first class, their appetite to learn, the way they've applied themselves in what we've set's been terrific. Everything else becomes a peripheral. So first and foremost, it's players that have been the best thing that we've seen since we've been here.
Is there anything?
So yeah, just to add, absolutely, you know, when you go away to these places, and we are fortunate enough to travel the world, you often reference landmarks such as Sydney Harbour Bridge and the Opera House as such, but for us it always eventually comes down to the people. It's always about the people that you meet along the journey.
Is there anything that you guys missed out on that you want to do next time you come here?
Eat a bit more fish, I think. I do love the fish over here. The fish is just, it's beautiful. You know, we've had a great time here at the city. The people have been tremendous. It probably does move up in the rankings. You know, we've been San Francisco, we've been Cape Town, we've been Delhi, we've been all the major cities of the world. Coming here, it is just a fantastic city. The people have been fantastic right the way through, and we've only seen a portion of the city. If someone was asking me something that I'd really love to do, it's probably a shark dive is next on my list, I think, which me and Tish were talking about. So whether I do that here or Cape Town, that'll be next on my list.
I think also on the sporting point, we'd probably love to see a game of Aussie rules, you know, just to immerse ourselves in the culture a little bit. Again, a few weeks ago in Louisville, not purely as a spectator sport. Fortunately, as we say now, trips to the USA to see a lot of American football and gridiron football over there. So we get the Aussie rules on TV back home, but the sport is always best watched live, which is what we always tell the kids to do, watch live football. So yeah, I think a game of good old Aussie rules would be a spectacle for us to see on our next visit.
Playing that would be worse than the shark dive, I think.
What about for the parents? What would, I suppose, be your best piece of advice for them? Something for them to take home with them?
Like what we said, just keep encouraging them. Try and take away that fear of failure, try and keep that fear of failure attitude and take away the pressure that sometimes parents put on their kids from the sidelines. Just keep encouraging them, keep supporting them, keep allowing them to express themselves without that fear of failure.
I have a favourite saying which I use a lot, which is see the child. Always see the child. Don't just see the little athlete, the little footballer. Speak to them, hear what they're saying. As a parent, sometimes your aspirations for them are not the same as the ones that they have for themselves. And sometimes because they love you, they have that relationship with you, they're a little bit too afraid to say. So, communicate, speak to them, to be aware your aspirations are not necessarily what they want for themselves.
I guess most importantly, what's something you want the players from the ISA to take home with them?
Definitely attitude for me, and to keep the attitude that they've shown with us. As I say, it's the benchmark and it's the starting point and reference for where we are. Attitude first and foremost, and realise just now, and I'm sure we've educated them to understand just what it's required, the dedication, the commitment that needs to go there, and the sacrifices you're going to have to make. But also they need to take away that even if you have every attribute, unfortunately the harsh realities of football, it's no guarantee of success.
I think as well, if we can help them to fall in love with the game a little bit more, then that helps. We find that our kids back home, they live in the game, they're totally immersed in it. If we can go a little way towards that over here by encouraging them, not just through the coaching and teaching, but social activities as well, encouraging them to get out there and watch live sport, and that's part of our job.
Well, on behalf of Keith, Tish, the coaches, the playing staff, the parents, and everyone at the International Soccer Academy, I'd just like to thank you both for the time spent with us.
Thank you.
It's been an absolute pleasure for us as well.
Thoroughly enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.